someone's watching me. As you can tell by the title, this video is a little bit different to what we normally do. Got my fluffy, cozy pants on, and we're going to talk about all the books that got me back into reading this year. They're all fiction, most of them are closed-door romances, and there's one non-romance. This video is inspired by Rachel Catherine, one of my favourite YouTubers who also talks about books, and she actually introduced me to Colleen Hoover, which... Can we just have a round of applause for Colleen Hoover? I don't know what it is about her books, they hook ya. They're so good. And I've also found this community on YouTube called BookTube, where literally all people do is talk about books. They give their reviews, their recommendations, how many stars they give each book, and it's literally just brought a whole new love into my life. If you've seen our past few vlogs, you would have noticed more books making an appearance, and that's what today's video is going to be all about. I'm going to be talking to them. Yep, I'm going to be talking to the books. I'm going to be talking about them. Hi Cosmo, do you want to come into the video with me? Do you want to sit on my lap? So I've read 5 of these books in the last 2 months. I'm currently reading one, and there's 2 more that I haven't read yet, so let's go through them. Firstly, the book that got me back into reading, All Your Perfects by Colleen Hoover. Yeah, it was good, wasn't it, bud? Cosmo seems to like it. I loved every single second of this book. Thinking about it now, it breaks my heart, but in the best way possible. This book basically follows Quinn and Graham, and it shows their relationships from teenagers into when they were married, and it follows like a past and present kind of situation. This was a book that I did not want to put down, but one night I just had to put it down because my heart couldn't take it anymore. Like, it was so devastating, but it was so perfect. If you love just following a couple's relationship story, you will absolutely love this book. Highly recommend. I think this one and one more in this pile are my 2 favorite books that I've ever read in my life. Highly recommend this one. Next up, It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. Now, there is a few Colleen Hoover books in this video, so I do apologize if you don't like her style of writing. So this story is about 2 characters, Lily and Ryle, who have a very toxic relationship, and I wasn't aware of the disclaimer going into this book, so I wasn't actually a huge fan. It has lots of scenes of domestic violence, and not that anything like that has happened to me. I just get really distressed like reading about that sort of thing, and I wasn't aware coming into this book, so I think if I had have known that, I wouldn't have picked it up. It was a good book. It was a good read. I don't really think about it much. I more think about the relationship between Lily and Alyssa, one of her friends. But yeah, it's basically just follows her relationship with this guy Ryle, and there's a previous relationship, Atlas, which they go into a lot of detail about, which is actually a better story than her and Ryle, in my opinion. Yeah, this book actually had a lot of past like diary entries and stuff that I wasn't a huge fan of. I mean, it wasn't a bad book, but it's definitely not in my top books. I only rated this one a 3 stars. Oh, and I rated All Your Perfects 5 stars. Not my fave, but it does get a lot of hype, and I can see why. Next up is The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This was such a good book. I rated it 4 stars. Not to the level of All Your Perfects, but still a great book. This story is about this really famous Hollywood actress, a made-up character, Evelyn Hugo, and basically just follows her life from being a nobody to being this huge star, and all of the husbands that she marries along the way, 7 of them. Hence the title, 7 Husbands. The book is separated into 7 different parts, one for each of her husbands, and some marriages are really long, some are short, some are great, some are terrible. It's just really fascinating. You also get to see the different types of relationships Evelyn forms throughout her life, whether that's romantic or non-romantic. I don't know, you get a really good insight into her life, even though she's like a made-up fictional character. And it's written really well. I'm not gonna lie, I did cry at the end. There's a plot twist I just did not see coming. Kind of wish it wasn't in the book, but it kind of made the book, so yeah, it did shatter my heart into a million little pieces, but other than that, it was a good book. 4 stars from me. Next up, November 9 by Colleen Hoover. To say this book broke my heart is an understatement. Colleen Hoover has a habit of breaking my heart every time I read one of her books. That's just her style, that's fine. So this story basically follows these 2 characters, Ben and Fallon. Ben is a writer and Fallon is an ex-actress. That's hard to say. It's like a fake boyfriend to lovers trope, and it's just so good. I've never read a book like this before. It's like a different type of, I don't even know the words. I need to learn my book lingo if I'm going to do videos like this. I loved the characters. I loved the way it was written. Just loved everything about this book except the ending. I think about it almost every single day to this day, and I read this maybe a month ago. Devastating. It's so devastating. I really did not see the ending coming, and it again just broke my heart into a million little pieces. This book deserves so much love. So highly recommend read this book if you get the chance. Read it. 5 stars. Now on the other end of the spectrum, Malibu Rising. It's a thick book. It probably only needed to be about that thick. It just, I don't know, it didn't do it for me. I rated this 2 stars. It wasn't a romance book, but that wasn't the reason why I didn't like it. It was just, it was really descriptive, and it described, I don't know, just described everything in too much detail. Details that weren't important or you didn't need to remember. I mean, it was a fun beach read. Like, it's based in Malibu. It's about like surfing and stuff. It just follows this really rich family and their drama basically. But yeah, I wouldn't recommend it. And it's a thick book. Like, how many pages was it? 360 pages. So it probably could have been like a 150 page book and it would have been great. In my opinion, it didn't really get good until page 240. So that was a lot of my time. I honestly should have DNF'd this, which means did not finish. I'm learning all these new lingos from booktubers. Yeah, there'd be moments when I'd be so invested in the main characters because they're good characters. But just jump from this main character to someone completely different and irrelevant and just start describing them. It's like, that's not really, I don't know. I really didn't like it. I didn't really get into it. 2 stars. Now onto the book I'm currently reading, Normal People by Sally Rooney. I've heard that people either love Sally Rooney or they hate her because she doesn't use the little quotation marks around the text, and I'm finding that really hard to read. Like, I'm loving the story, but just the way that it's written is really hard to get into. But yeah, I'm about halfway through, a little bit more than half. But yeah, I'll definitely let you know what I think at the end, but I don't think it's going to be a 5 star from me. I'm thinking maybe 3 star. Like, I love the story. I love the story of these two. About Cornell and Marianne grow up in the same small town in the west of Ireland, but the similarities end there. In school, Cornell is popular and well liked while Marianne is a loner. So you can kind of guess where that's going. It's a romance book. I'll let you know how that one goes. And I've got 2 here that I haven't read yet that I'm really excited to read. The Hating Game by Sally Thorne. I think it's like a close proximity, like enemies to lovers sort of situation. I'll keep you updated on that one. And the last one is The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren. I've heard so many good things about this, and I really hope my expectations get met. It's about a trip to Hawaii, and I think some people get sick or something. I've heard a lot from Hayley Pham and Destiny Sidwell talking about this book. And I love them, by the way. Their book videos are just so great. I think Destiny actually uploaded one 6 minutes ago and I watched it before I did this. Anyway, yeah, it's about some like wedding party and a whole bunch of people get sick, and the only 2 people that don't get sick have to go on this like honeymoon thing that had already been booked. Yeah, I'm really excited. It's meant to be like a nice fun summary read, so I'll definitely keep you updated on that one as well. And if you got this far, thank you so much for watching this video. I had so much fun talking about these books, even though I don't really know any of the lingo or terms or anything about books. But yeah, if you want to see more book content or have any books that you would like to recommend, just leave them down in the comments. And yeah, make sure you give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye. Bye. I literally asked Cosmo to stay upstairs for 10 minutes while I filmed this video, and he immediately just crawled in my lap. I love you, bud. Bye.